All right, this is my Bill of Rights hand game to help you memorize the first 10 amendments, also known as the Bill of Rights. Walk through this with me. The first 10 amendments, I want you to hold up 10 fingers. First 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights are there to protect you from the federal government. I want you to hold up your hands like you're shielding yourself from the sun. So the first 10 amendments are called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights are there to protect you from the federal government. The First Amendment has 5 freedoms. One finger for First Amendment, 5 freedoms go like this. All right, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, point to the sky like you're pointing to God. Freedom of the press, I want you to press like you're pressing an elevator button or pressing on something. Freedom of petition, like you're signing a petition. And then freedom of assembly, like you're telling somebody, come here, let's talk about the government. Now I need to point out, freedom of press is not actually like the freedom to press an elevator button, but it is media, press, newspapers, television, being able to report on what's happening in the federal government. So one more time, First Amendment has 5 freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of petition, freedom of assembly. All right, Second Amendment, I want you to use 2 fingers for this one. Make yourself a little handgun. And Second Amendment, right to bear arms. All right, that is not the right to have bear arms or go sleeveless, but the right to bear arms as in own guns. All right, Third Amendment, this one's kind of hokey, as are most of them. Take 3 fingers, I want you to make yourself a little house over your head, and then we kick out the troops, kick the troops out of our house. That means no quartering of soldiers. Now, while this may seem unusual to you and I, because let's face it, when was the last time you had soldiers trying to sleep in your house? The Founding Fathers remembered the Quartering Act, which was one of their grievances of the Declaration of Independence. So they wanted to make sure that the federal government knew that there would be no soldiers sleeping in their houses or being quartered in their homes. So that's the Third Amendment. All right, the Fourth Amendment, 4 fingers. I want you to take your 4 fingers, curl them around your thumb, and then knock on the door, say, open up, it's the po-po. We have a search warrant, we want to search your house. Fourth Amendment protects you against unreasonable search and seizure. Now again, seizure, I need to clarify, is not seizure as in I'm having a seizure, but seizure as in the taking of your property. So, Fourth Amendment, open up, it's po-po, I have a search warrant. Fifth Amendment. Fifth Amendment is one of my personal favorites. It is the right to remain silent. Take 5 fingers, I want you to put it over your mouth, like you're not going to say a word. This is the freedom or the right of protection against self-incrimination. You don't have to testify against yourself at a trial or make a statement that's going to incriminate you in a crime. So that's called the right to remain silent. And so we put 5 fingers over our mouth. Now I like to add a second hand, like double up, because the Fifth Amendment also protects you against double jeopardy, which means that you can't be tried twice for the same crime. So Fifth Amendment, the right to remain silent, and double jeopardy. So if your teachers ask you to exercise your Fifth Amendment right, they're asking you to remain silent. Okay, the Sixth Amendment. Now we're getting into the rights of the accused. So if you are accused of a crime, you have certain rights, such as a jury trial and a speedy trial and the right to an attorney. Now, what I like to do is take my 6 fingers and pretend I'm pointing at my watch. You still know what that is, even though many of you probably use a cell phone as your clock. You can look at your watch and say, where is my lawyer? The jury's coming in. My speedy trial is about to start. What will I do? My lawyer should show up soon. So those are all of your rights of the accused. Right to jury trial, it's starting very speedily, and right to an attorney. Now the Seventh Amendment is very similar to the Sixth Amendment. It's just for civil trials. So I'm not going to do a hand gesture for that, but 7th is civil, and so we're going to kind of skip that one. Okay, the Eighth Amendment is kind of silly. This is a picture of 2 nooses, as in hangings. So we're going to take these 2 nooses and we're going to put them together and make an 8, because the Eighth Amendment protects you against cruel and unusual punishment. Now, whenever I play the hand game, I just take my 2 fingers, or my 2 hands, I put them together like this, like double nooses, and then sometimes you can wrap them around your neck, and remember that the Eighth Amendment protects you against cruel and unusual punishment. Okay, the Ninth Amendment, there's no hand gesture for that. It just says basically that these are not all of the rights that you have. this is not an exhaustive list, that you have other rights besides the ones listed in the Bill of Rights. The 10th Amendment, last but not least. The 10th Amendment, I want you to take your two hands, and I want you to pretend you work at a fancy restaurant, and you are the maitre d', and somebody says, "Garçon, where is my table?" And you're going to pull out this seat. It is reserved. This seat is reserved. Because the 10th Amendment states that powers not outlined in the Constitution are reserved for the states and for the people. Meaning the powers and responsibilities not given to the federal government in the Constitution are reserved for the states and for the people through popular sovereignty and federalism. So take your 10 fingers, pull out your seat at your desk, and say, "Oh, this is reserved. Reserved seat for the states and the people." Okay, are you ready to run through them super, super fast? Here we go. First Amendments are called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights are there to protect you from the federal government. First Amendment has 5 freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of press, freedom of petition, freedom of assembly. Second Amendment, bang, bang, right to bear arms. Third Amendment, make your house, soldiers, get out of my house, no quartering of troops. Fourth Amendment, open up, it's po-po, I have a search warrant, protects you against unreasonable search and seizure. Fifth Amendment is the right to remain silent and protects you against double jeopardy. Sixth Amendment, rights of the accused. "Oh, where's my lawyer? The jury's coming in, my trial's about to start." Sixth Amendment, Seventh Amendment, much like this, Seventh Amendment is much like the Sixth, so we're going to skip it. Eighth Amendment, double nooses, protects you against cruel and unusual punishment. Ninth Amendment just says you have rights besides the ones we've listed here. 10th Amendment, this seat is reserved for the states and for the people. And that's the Bill of Rights.